I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Lopez Cordell Richardson. Okay, Lopez Cordell Richardson was born April the 18th, 1989, in a small town in Mississippi. Okay, Lopez went missing July the 5th, 2021, at around 11 p.m. that night. Okay, now a little rundown on Lopez. He had a girlfriend, okay, and they both met when he was in college while they were working at Pizza Hut. Okay, now Lopez belonged to a motorcycle club, okay, called All Sports Riders MC. Okay, so I'm going to be looking in the House of Clubs, which is the 11th house, because that's going to give me some signs and symbols on the nature of this disappearance and possible death. Okay, today is July the 2nd, 2025. Okay, Lopez Richardson has not been found. Um, we're going to get down to what was found. Everything was found but his body. So we don't know whether he is alive or dead. We're going to get to that. So yeah, he belonged to a motorcycle club called All Sports Riders MC. Okay, and he considered it a strong brotherhood. So this motorcycle club, they were very close-knit club. They considered themselves brothers, which most groups and gangs are like that. Okay, Lopez was heavy into art. He opened his own tattoo shop in 2021, early 2021, in Rosenberg, Texas. Okay, called Dear Life Tattoos. I want to make sure my beard is not touching the mic. He was last seen dropping his daughter off at her mother's house in Spring, Texas, which was 60 miles away from Rosenberg. Okay? Now, his truck was later found in the opposite direction of Rosenberg from Spring, Texas. Now, the last day he was seen, he was supposed to be heading back to Spring, Texas. I'm sorry, to Rosenberg, Texas, from Spring, Texas, when he dropped his daughter off at her mother's house. But that's not where his truck was later found. His truck was later found in the opposite direction of Rosenberg from Spring, Texas. He told his girlfriend that some people were out to get him. He did business with the wrong crowd and disrespected the wrong individual from that crowd. So, of course, I guess this individual had ranking. So I'm going to be looking at where Capricorn is at and how it relates to crowds and Aquarius energy. Now, July the 8th, 2021, his girlfriend reported him missing. The very next day, July 9th, 2021, his truck was found 5 hours away from Rosenberg, the opposite direction from Spring, Texas, where he was last seen, dropping his daughter off at her mother's house. And he was supposed to be on his way back to Rosenberg. His truck was found 5 hours away. And the distance between Rosenberg and Spring, Texas is 60 miles. 60 miles an hour is the average speed limit. So it would have only took him an hour to get from Spring, Texas back to Rosenberg. But his truck was found 5 hours away from Rosenberg in the opposite direction. It was dumped in a wooded area in Howe, Texas, near some railroad tracks. Now, the railroad tracks it is owned by Dallas Garland Railroad Company. Now, it was said that law enforcement had some issues with trying to confiscate the truck and to go search it because they had to get permission from Dallas Garland Railroad Company, which was apparently giving them a hard time with the law enforcement trying to come on their property and, because they discovered the missing vehicle, which I don't understand how law enforcement has such a hard time doing that because that's evidence. That's what they do, you know. And then not only that, come to find out at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this. They labeled it as a abandoned truck. And they knew that it belonged to the missing person, Lopez Richardson. But that's not what was broadcasted on the media. They labeled it as an abandoned truck. Oh, we're going to get to that. So they searched the vehicle. They found his wallet, some GoPro cameras, miscellaneous items, and his shoes were stuck in the mud in a surrounding area close by the vehicle. Now, the truck remained in the woods 35 days after it was discovered. That's a problem. And that's a red flag. Now, the truck was reported as abandoned vehicle rather than a vehicle belonging to a missing person. And get this, the truck's gear was still in reverse. It was confirmed that law enforcement found more items than what they reported. Of course, it was also confirmed and reported that this may have been a sundown town where apparently black folks are not supposed to be seen after sundown. There's a lot of places on this earth that are very disgusting. They are full of disgusting humans that are at levels of such inhumane behaviors and evolution. It's just ridiculous. That's not even evolution. That's degenerate. You have a degenerate grade of human species that have no regard for human life. Color, race, different what, it's just disgusting. And there are towns where these people live at. So, it was confirmed that this was one of these towns. And the thing about it is these beings come from all walks of life. They could be law enforcement, doctors, presidents, judges, lawyers, all of that. You would think that the older you get, the more wiser you become, the more you learn about the human condition, because that's what we're here for, to learn. It's what you learn about being human, you know. But some people never grow, they never learn. It's weird. But anyway, all text messages that was found on his phone were deleted from June. All the text messages from June were deleted. So it's almost like the crime scene was edited because they were deleted after the fact. Certain memory was deleted manually as well. His debit card was used July 8th. That was the day his girlfriend reported him missing. Did he use it? We don't know. But they have confirmed that it was used. And it was used the day before they found his truck at a truck stop. The debit card was used at a truck stop called R&R Truck Stop. And they're not sure if it was him. So I pulled a birth chart alignment. of where the planets were, and a missing chart alignment the day he went missing. And I'm looking at where the planets were. Okay, I have his birth chart in front of me. If you look at his birth planetary alignments, you will see that his sun is in Aries and his moon was in Virgo. And y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So that is how I get the most accurate information of energy, so I can formulate the stories. So when they put the moon in Virgo in Aries house, Aries is the first house. So all I got to do is put Virgo in the first house. And that will give me an accurate story of Lopez Richardson's nature at birth, his overall nature throughout his life, and how energy flowed through him throughout every season. Okay, now when you put Virgo in Aries house, you will get a sixth house chart because Virgo will be coming first in Aries house. Okay, and if you look at where Aries is, it's in the house of death. Aries in the house of death is always a common denominator for most of my investigations. So we're going to talk about that though. Now, on the day that Lopez Richardson was last seen, the sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Gemini. So when you divide time, the sun divided by moon cycles, you will put Gemini inside of Cancer's house. Cancer is the fourth house. So when Gemini is in the fourth house, Pisces is rising. Now, I'm looking at his birth chart and the chart of the last day he was seen, and I'm already seeing some synchronicities. And I'm going to talk about these synchronicities while I shuffle this deck, where I'm going to pull the oracle chart, and that's going to close out the story. So, at his birth, Virgo was rising. Okay? Virgo is the servant. That is the help. That is the worker. Okay? Virgo rules the sixth house. That's why this is a sixth house chart. Okay? In the sixth house, you see Aquarius. Aquarius represents the group. Okay? It represents groups, gangs, organizations, clubs, fraternities, sororities, cults, all of that. Okay? Now, if you look inside of Aquarius's house, which I told you I was going to look inside of, the house of clubs, which is the 11th house. That is the house of groups. And you will see Cancer. That is the energy of home and family. And Lopez Richardson did say the club he belonged to were like brothers. They were close knit. And it shows, it reflects in his chart. Close knit group. What kind of close knit group? Look inside of Cancer's house, the fourth house, and you will see Sagittarius, the group of travelers. Sagittarius is the traveler. Okay? The group of travelers. Okay? And when you look inside of the 10th house, where this group is noticeable, the 10th house represents exposure. You will see Gemini on the road. They travel on the road as a group. Now, being that Virgo is rising, Mercury rules his birth chart because Mercury belongs to Virgo. So when I follow Mercury, it's going to give me some insight. Mercury, the day that Lopez was born, was in Taurus. And Taurus is in the 9th house. That's Sagittarius' house. That is the house of travel. But Sagittarius is in Cancer's house, which is the 4th house of home and family. Okay, so this traveling group that he was with, because there's finances involved too. Okay, because they got money. Okay, it's like the sharing of wealth with these groups. Financial funds, organizations, where they all keep the money in the family. Okay? So this has a lot to do with money as well. Okay? Because when you look inside of Lopez's second house of money, you will see Libra, the partner. Okay? We don't know if this partner was his girlfriend, his baby mama, and I don't know whether his girlfriend and baby mama is the same person. But we do know that there is somebody else in the picture. that can connect the dot to his disappearance and his possible death. So who is this other person? Let's look inside of Libra's house, which is the seventh house of his birth chart, and you will see Pisces. That is the hidden. This person is hidden. It's like an enemy. When things are not clear, it is considered the enemy because you don't know whether it's coming or going. Whether in the seventh house of relationships, when Pisces is there, this is a person that has relationships with people where you don't know where this relationship is going. We don't know whether we're coming or going. Are we together or are we not together? Are we married or are we not married? Are we a couple? Are we, or what's going on? These are the type of relationships where you never really know what's going on because nothing is never really clear. Now let's look at what is clear in that relationship, and why things are not so clear by looking in the 12th house of the hidden. That's Pisces house. And when you look in the 12th house, you'll see Leo. Leo energy is the energy of hidden romances, hidden celebrations, drug addictions. There were some hidden addictions, some hidden romances, some hidden romantic sexual affairs that are involved. Now, I'm going to pull this, but we're going to talk about it later. Pisces in Pluto in the 12th house. Hold that thought. We're going to pull this chart later because this chart is going to take it out. All right, now, so on the day that Lopez went missing, the sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Gemini, and that is a 12th house chart. And I just got finished saying, look inside of the 12th house to see what kind of relationship this was, why things were hiding, the nature of what was hidden, this hidden romantic sexual affair, okay? This hidden entourage of affairs. Now comes first. The partner that's involved comes first. The day that Lopez went missing, do you see Pisces in the first house? It went from being in the seventh house of hidden relationships to now rising in the first house on the day he went missing. Do you see how I'm connecting the dots? Okay, now looking at this missing chart, when you look inside of the house of death, which is the 8th house, look what you see. Libra, the partner. That's how I know that his partner that's responsible for his disappearance is somebody he was in a relationship with. What kind of partnership was this? Look inside of the 7th house, Libra's house, and you'll see the nature of the partnership. So on that day, this was about work. This was about help. Somebody got help or somebody did not get help, because Virgo represents the help. Like I said in the beginning, that is what was coming first in Lopez's birth chart. Are you following me? Go to my YouTube tutorial, my Zodiac Oracle tutorial in the link below of this video, so you will see how I formulate my stories. In that video, you'll be able to go straight to any sign, symbol, house number, or planet that you hear me talk about, or any of the cards that I pull, or any of the charts that I'm reading, so you see how I formulate my stories. So, what type of help and work was this all about? Let's look inside of Virgo's house, and you'll see Leo. Remember, that energy sounds familiar. Where was Leo at in Lopez's birth chart? It was in the 12th house, the hidden. This was something going on behind the scenes, and something got exposed, and the exposure of it caused the disappearance and the possible death of Lopez. So we got to get down to the bottom of what this was, because obviously there's a lot of 12th house activity, because you see the card that got pulled, the 12th house. We're going to talk about this oracle chart. So now, remember, in his birth chart, And when I said I'm going to look inside of the house of clubs and groups, and I saw Cancer, that close-knit energy, that family-oriented energy, that he considered this group to be close-knit like brothers. We confirmed that. It even shows up in his chart. Now look in the missing chart. Look where Cancer is at. It is in Leo's house. That is how I know that somebody on his team, his motorcycle gang team, knows something. I'm not saying that they're a suspect, but they are definitely a part of this disappearance and possible death. And it's also somebody, it could have, I'm not saying this team was full of men, because it could have been men and women on that team. I'm not sure. But for it to be a hidden romance, you know, this is 2025. Two men can have hidden romances, a man and a woman and a woman. So we don't judge. I'm reading the chart as I see it. There was a hidden romantic affair involved. Okay. And there was some work that needed to be done. It was about some work, some help. Somebody was helping somebody, and something didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. Okay. Now, Mercury, which ruled Virgo in the birth chart, okay, that was in Taurus, is now in Gemini the day that he went missing. And where is Gemini at? Gemini is in the fourth house, Cancer's house. That's the house of home and family. That's the close-knit house. And that is where in the birth chart you saw Gemini on the road. That's where they were on the road. So this is a part of somebody that he was on the road with. And this was about money. This traveling that he was doing, that his car ended up 5 hours away from Rosenberg, was about money. Wherever he was going when he left Spring, Texas, from dropping his daughter off at her mother's house, was about money. Because look inside of the third house of travel. You'll see Taurus. This was about the funds. Taurus is about the money, the material. And that's what led to his death. You know how I know? Because look inside of Taurus's house, which is the second house. Look what you see. Aries. That is the energy of Lopez's death in his birth chart. Aries. Now Aries is in the house of money. That's how I know this traveling that he did from Spring, Texas, when he should have been going back to Rosenberg, which was only an hour away, 60 miles. But they found his car a couple of days later, 5 hours away from Rosenberg, in the opposite direction. That was about money. That was about money. That was about money. Pluto in the 12th house. On the day that Lopez went missing, Pluto was in Capricorn. When you put Capricorn in the 12th house, Pluto and Capricorn in the 12th house, guess what's rising? I'm going to see if you can guess it before I pull the chart. Guess what's rising? It's not going to surprise you, because it's not surprising me. When you put Capricorn in the 12th house, look what's rising. Comes first, Aquarius, the group member. So, this, like he said, I told you I was going, did I not tell you I was going to look where Capricorn was? When he told his girlfriend that he got into some misunderstanding and altercation with somebody doing business. Let me go back to that. Let me quote what I said. He told his girlfriend some people were out to get him. He did business, Capricorn energy, with the wrong crowd, Aquarius. Remember I told you I was going to look at Capricorn and Aquarius and how they both relate. Because Capricorn is the business and Aquarius is the crowd, the group. And disrespected the wrong individual from that crowd. So obviously that individual had some ranking. That's Capricorn energy. And that is the card that was pulled. So when Capricorn is in the 12th house, that is where the enemy is. When Aquarius is rising. Okay? Now where's Pisces at? Which was this enemy? In the second house of money. Okay? This was in the second house of money. Okay? Now, what's in the house of death during this 11th house? This is an 11th house chart. This is a group chart. This is a crowd chart. This is a gang chart. The 11th house. The house of gangs, crowds, organizations, sororities. And if you look in the 11th house, you'll see exactly what type of gang this was. A traveling gang. Sagittarius. Remember I told you. In the chart where he was born, I told you Sagittarius was in the 4th house of Cancer's house, which represents this close-knit gang that he was traveling with. So now we know for sure that that motorcycle gang is a member. If it's not his gang, it is another gang. Because you know them gangs be having their little wars against each other. But it could have been somebody in his gang as well. And the energy of death in this gang-related chart, Scorpio, is in the 10th house. Look at Scorpio in the 10th house. That's Capricorn's house. And Pluto, which rules Scorpio, is in Capricorn. Do you see that? How I'm connecting the dots? Capricorn in the 12th house represents the power behind the throne. Scorpio represents the power. And wherever Capricorn is, represents the throne. So being that Capricorn is in the 12th house, which is the hidden, this chart right here is the power behind the throne. Who's the power behind the throne? This group in the 11th house of travelers, if you look inside of Sagittarius' house, which is the 9th house, it is somebody he was in a relationship with. Okay? And the energy that surrounded that death was about help. It is something he did not want to do, or something somebody else didn't want to do. And he probably said something, like he said, he got into it with the wrong crowd. Something that was supposed to happen, some type of help that was supposed to take place. And it didn't. And words were spoken. Shots were probably fired. Whether it's verbal shots or whatever, it was fired. And Lopez's moon is in Virgo. Now, I'm going to pull from this war deck so we can find out exactly what went down. Why they found his vehicle and not his body. What happened to his body? Because we're going to locate that. But right now, what is the war that took place that landed his car in this ditch in reverse? Like, what happened? They found everything but his body. So what happened, Lopez? I'm almost certain he's no longer with us. I'm almost certain he's no longer with us. 12th house, mental health. Yep, 12th house. Mental health is a real thing. So the source of this could be mental health. Okay? Now, every war leads to a crime. And that's why I'm going to pull from the crime deck. Because there definitely was a crime involved. Because we're going to find out what was it that he got into with this doing business. Got into some bad business. We got to know what this business was. He did business with the wrong crowd. Yep. Virgo energy and Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy represents the business, Aquarius represents the crowd, and Virgo represents the work. There was some work that did not get done, or somebody did not get paid for the work that was done. And like I said, words were thrown around, shots were fired. Somebody wasn't going to let it rest. And somehow, they found his vehicle and all his belongings, but did not find his body. And we need to know, what was this crime that took place? Verbal abuse in the 4th house from the group, that close-knit verbal abuse. Yep, some words. Yep, some words. Because in the 4th house of the gang chart, you'll see Taurus. It's about money. Yep, it was about money. Probably somebody's well-being was on the line. You know, when work is done, money needs to be paid up. Now, let's get to the lost and found. Everything was found but Lopez's body. Now we're going to find the body. Where is Lopez Richardson's body? Let me pick up this card right there. There's verbal abuse in the 4th house. Pluto in Capricorn in the 12th house. Saturn rules Capricorn. Where was Saturn at the day Lopez went missing? Saturn was in Aquarius, which is the energy that comes first. Okay? And Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. So where was Uranus at? Uranus was in Taurus. The money, the well-being, the material possessions, the currency. People don't play about their money. You don't pay up, you got to lay up. And I'm not saying that this is why or how it happened. You know, we don't know. I'm reading the chart. I'm reading the energy. But right now, we're going to locate Lopez Richardson's body. We found everything else but the body. We need to know where the body is at. Where is your body? In a building in the 5th house. What's in the 5th house? Gemini. In the local environment. In a building, in a local environment that has a lot to do with, this building has a lot to do with where this gang, because see, in Gemini's house, I see Aries. That's the energy of Lopez's death. So, and that's also, Aries is the energy of the body. And so this is clearly stating that the body is found in a building in the 5th house. 5th house buildings can represent a building where they have parties at. It could be an abandoned building. It could be a club. Any building that is colored with Leo energy. A place where they have shows. It could also very well be a hotel, but I don't think it's the hotel, but you never know. Okay? Now, let's find some evidence. I'm going to pull from my evidence deck. Pull that card. That whole deck was about to fall. I'm going to pull from my evidence deck. Okay? So it's saying that his body was in that building. Now, Mercury rules Gemini. And where was Mercury at the day he went missing? Mercury was also in Gemini. So Gemini represents the local environment. So his body was found in that ditch. I want to say the car was found in that ditch. I want to say that the car was planted there to throw law enforcement off. I don't think Lopez was actually got killed 5 hours away from Rosenberg. I think his vehicle was planted there. But we're going to locate some evidence that's going to confirm this in my evidence deck. That fourth house again. Digital evidence and documents. Text messages, because see, they deleted them. You know, this card right here confirms why they deleted all text messages from June were all deleted. Certain memory was deleted manually. Yeah, because they were trying to hide something. That's what this card is confirming. Digital evidence and documents. And it's in the fourth house. This close-knit group, this brotherhood. Now, I also want to say something that I spotted too in the earlier parts of my investigation. Cancer, which rules the fourth house, also showed up in the fifth house. It was in the fifth house the day Lopez went missing. Cancer in the fifth house is not only a close-knit group member that he comes from, that he had this hidden romantic relationship with, but Cancer in the fifth house, Cancer is the energy of the mother, the home and family, and the fifth house is Leo's house. That's the energy of children, celebration, everything that children represents, and fun and pleasures of life. So when Cancer is in the fifth house, that is also colors a picture of the baby mother. I'm just saying, I'm reading energy. I'm painting pictures according to the colors that I see on the chart. This color, when Cancer colors the fifth house, that's also the baby mama. Somehow she may be tied in with this investigation. Because there's a lot of Cancer energy that's popping up. Okay? So the death was definitely about money. And his partner was definitely involved. Somebody he worked with, doing what he loves. An enemy. Okay? Because in his birth chart, Leo was in the 12th house, the hidden house. And in the missing chart, it was in the 6th house of work and help. And his moon, because see, the 6th house is Virgo's house. And Lopez's moon was in Virgo. And Virgo was in the house of the partner when he went missing. But Virgo came first in Lopez's chart. So he was the partner. But this is also a team member. Now, the Cancer in the 5th house, connecting the dot to that meaning of Cancer in the 5th house would also mean that Leo in the 6th house means that this was a dispute about help with the child. Because the 6th house is the house of help and Leo is the child. In that case. In the other case, Leo represents the hidden romantic partner. But if Cancer in the 5th represents the baby mother, then Leo in the 6th would mean help with the child. Are y'all following me? I'm very good at what I do. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. All right. Now let's look for who. Let's look for who. Because we know his body is in the building. Right? In the local environment. But which local environment? Is it close to Spring, Texas? Or is it close to Rosenberg? Or is it in Howe, Texas, where they found his vehicle? Because his body's not in the vehicle. Who do we need to zoom in on? And where can we find this individual that's responsible for your death and disappearance? Because I'm almost certain Lopez is no longer with us. I'm almost certain. Energy doesn't lie. And if he is with us, He's somewhere living a whole new life with a partner. But I'm almost certain that he's no longer with us. This is 2025. 4 whole years later, still no signs of him. And you have a child too. I don't think he would walk away from his child. But you never know. Because it is 2025 and people are weird. Not saying that he was weird. I'm just saying people are weird. Up, fifth house. Look at this. The witness. Yep. Who? This witness that knows where his body is. Yep. So, it was said, because the fifth house is the house of children. Now, it was said that before his disappearance, his last phone call was to his daughter after dropping her off. He called his daughter and they was talking and the phone conversation was recorded. And I literally heard him telling his daughter, I'm sorry. What was he apologizing for? And is his daughter this witness that's in the fifth house? Because the fifth house is the house of children, but it's also the house of romance, romantic partnerships, playful sex affairs and love affairs. Not with the child. That's just another aspect of what Leo means and the sixth house. Now, these fifth house cards in the chart of gang, which is where his body is located in the local environment in a building. Gemini in Leo's house. Where is Leo at? Leo is in the seventh house of relationships and partnerships. The person he was with knows where his body is. The person he was with, it could be somewhere on their property. The person he was with knows where their body is. The sun, the last day that Lopez was seen, the sun was in Cancer. Up until even when they found the vehicle, the sun was still in Cancer. So Leo rules the sun. So let's look for where the sun was in this chart. Cancer is in the sixth house. That is Virgo's house. Lopez's moon is in Virgo. So, when Cancer is in the sixth house, that is the house of health. Cancer in the sixth house also represents fast food restaurants. Not just fast food, but cooking. Because Cancer is the energy of the mother, the home, the family, cooking, family reunions, all of that. Houses and homes. So Cancer in the sixth house can mean working from home, a home job. Also, Cancer in the sixth house can mean service, food services, a food service building, a restaurant. It could be in a dumpster somewhere, close to a restaurant or a diner in the local environment of either Sweet Spring, Texas, Rosenberg, or Howe, Texas. And his moon was in Virgo. So Virgo is in the 8th house of death. So in the 8th house, in this case, represents disposable, disposing of the body. So the body could have been put in a dumpster behind a building. And you know, when the trash men come and pick up that dumpster, they pour everything in there in the truck and they smash it. I'm just saying, I'm just reading the energy. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop these investigations. Y'all be blessed.